I'm never old enough to give up.
CT side, I like to play anchor, so I'll play in between the two sides. I'll kind of mix it up a little bit. So for my mainstay is B side. I find a lot of my frags come from B side because those early round aggressions coming in from T side, you can really pick players apart from banana. Top banana essentially, that USP at range does a hell of a lot of damage, and you can get some very good, quick, accurate shots on it. People who have seen any of my TikToks that I posted with my CS gameplay, 95% of it is on Inferno, because this is my mainstay map that I just continuously play all the time. It's sad, I know, but it's probably better than mainstay Mirage, right? That's the perspective. T side, however, I just go with the flow. It's wherever people want to push. I prefer to push B side. I find it a bit easy to clear because I know the angles that a CT would play from, so it's a bit sort of mishmashy with that. But speaking of pushing into sites, A is the site for 23 average at the minute. They push deep and aggressive into control, but they're actually going to wrap themselves around towards B through CT. Straxy's heard all those footsteps and he's called his players into support.
Yeah, good start. Jerome is here as well. Lovely couple of kills coming in, and that's completely shut down the execute. Lone will take one, and a couple of players actually with him, but it's 3 versus 2. It's still doable, but FNK will secure. Sash is on this very late lurk through long. Wraps himself through the apartments, but needs to contend with the bomb. A good dink to kick things off. SBT brought down low and now resides in the comfort of his teammates.
Puts him in a really good front foot, essentially, with that dink. Needed that initial damage to really make this viable if he's going to be able to connect onto anyone. Taking SBT out the fight, we've seen how instrumental he can be in frags like this. It'll be a good bet for them to try and wrap things forward. FNK, of course, nothing to be sniffed at. Definitely a man to be feared. But it looks like the first point of contact is going to come from FNK, and he'll clear the final kill out and put one on the board for the Prodigies, taking pistol round.
Yeah, cool strat coming out of 22 average, though. You put the Molotov down in towards short, you smoke off Moto, and you just allow yourself an opportunity to try and wrap in, but it's these quick rotations from Straxy and Jerome. Completely lock them in, and once Prodigies realise what's going on, they all group as a unit. It makes it that little bit more difficult for the Glocks to trade out, and that secures them the pistol round. You can see that the T side have decided just to save. Freshness on some dual Berettas, that's pretty cool, but apart from that, it should just be a Prodigy round.
Tap those windows out, give himself a little bit of space to maneuver. We do have a P250 into the mix as well. I mean, that in the right hands can do a lot of damage, especially on these sort of rushes. If you're in an eco round like this, you're going to push up in through apps, for example. At close range, you're good enough there to get 2-3 shots into a CT player, especially if they got half armor. They haven't got a full buy out of it. You can definitely pick up a quick, easy frag off the back of it. But it's just stagnant play at the minute for 22 average. It's like they're trying to bring out the fangs from Prodigies, right? They want to see what sort of advancements they're going to make. But Prodigies on that sort of side, they don't really want to make those sort of advancements. They don't want to kind of show their hand too early. And they're more than happy to let time tick down as low as it needs to for the moment.
One thing I will notice is Jerome, not only has he been left alone on this B bomb site, he has an MP5. And that's something you don't really see every day. But I respect it. Big up. Fair play, Jerome. I rate it. Let's see what you've got in your locker. FNK rotating in probably at the perfect moment because TVS should dispatch of this player in towards top brackets. And that should be the accelerator call for 22 average to try and work their way into banana.
Oh, immediate transition as well from TVS, look, to get himself around towards B-side to help things out. FNK and Jerome trying to deal some damage. FNK and Jerome sharing the kills at the minute, but it's all FNK. Even switches to his USP to finish off the last man. And he picks up the dealies as well.
Nice. Fair enough. I mean, why not? Yeah, that was just quite a simple one. No utility to really accommodate a push, so 22 average just needs to kind of run into the meat grinder, and Crossfire does prevail. Prodigies with back-to-back rounds to kick things off on Inferno.
Should be a good buy round from 22 average. I mean, they're going to be able to afford to get some utility out of this. You can see there is a restricted amount of utility for some of the players, of course, but regardless, they should be able to make it work if they put it into the right angles. You know, if you're looking to push that B site, get that early aggression, you know, flex on potentially there only being Jerome there, you know, making good use of those 2 flashbangs there from Freshness, that will definitely award you some, you know, extra ground as far as the push into B side is concerned, but remains to be seen at the minute. We're on a map pause right now, so we're just going to wait and see what happens.
It's a bit of a techie, because it looks like Sasha has disconnected. I mean, you can see as we get a flyover into spawn and count them 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th player missing.
There he is.
There we go. So that normally means we get back into the proceedings quite quickly. Didn't buy, thankfully, so it doesn't lose the armor. There we go. Round time counting on in. Prodigy is about to contend with 22 average's first gun round of the game.
If you're 22 average right now, 3rd round in, it's your first major kind of crunch round as far as rifles are concerned. Are you going to be over-aggressive and get yourself up towards B-site early, or are you going to kind of play a last round like you did and slow things down and let Prodigies kind of fall into you? Oof, never mind us. I'm talking about SBT and TVS share the wealth. The frags onto second mid. It's all mid at the minute, and FNK runs out of ammo, switches to his dual Berettas, and just continues to put that overwhelming fire down.
Good reaction from the Prodigies. Taking the gunfights straight to 22 average. Letting them feel a little bit uncomfortable on that buy round. Trying to take their rifles straight out of their hands. There are trades in Banana. Straxy's now playing close to this half wall. And that's conceded some space. Off the back of FNK rotating, Freshness now has a bit of real estate towards top brackets. TVS trying to contend at long, but he hasn't got much health to do it with.
Needs to be quick on that trigger if it's going to make it work. I guess a shoulder peep doesn't get any connections off the back of it, but it's information gained nonetheless. No bomb spotted, of course, so no quick rotations coming in from the Prodigies to wrap onto a site. You can see we still have Straxy and FNK standing by at B. This should now be a full committal over towards the A site you'd expect there coming in from these 2 remaining players. 10 HP and an AK. It's not a lot to work with, but you can catch players off guard relatively quickly coming from Boiler.
Now, this rap's going to have to find success, though. 20 seconds. 22 average need to make a move, and SBT and TVS are in pretty good crossfires. TVS needs to be careful. Contact made by SBT. Doesn't even need his teammates' help. Lovely couple of multi-kills from Mini Pit. Prodigies will upgrade their rifles as well. And quite decisively survive against the 22 average first gun round.
Indeed, they will. There wasn't much pressure, was there, really, on Prodigies in that last round? You know, you had that second mid initial flurry of shots coming from both second mid and mid, actually, in fact. But it didn't seem to kind of break them, to be honest. They just kind of wrapped into it and absorbed the damage and let it happen. Good utility usage coming up from 22 average. It pushes FNK into an awful position, and Jerome is caught off guard off the back of it as well. That's a very good push towards B site. M4 into a good position to stop the rotation players from coming through also. So this is a bomb plan coming in for 22 average. A retake coming through from Prodigies at the minute. Molotov will start to tick down on SBT. It'll get finished off in the end by the M4. 2v5, and I don't think we're going to see the Prodigies go for this one.
No, definitely shouldn't. Well, you were calling on it as well, Steve. You said that sometimes the Prodigy's B defense is that little bit weaker. We've just seen a perfect example of it. Completely overrun just by Tech 9s. Caught in transition with the utility as well. One player didn't even have their gun out. So a little bit unfortunate, but a good sign of things to come potentially for 22 average, who will upgrade a lot of those rifles, keep 4 with them in fact, and it doesn't look like Straxy will be found out in towards apartments, but it's still a boon for that T-side round. And for the Prodigies, you take a look at the economy, they can buy back into it, but it's going to come at quite a big cost.
There's the AWP purchase as well. First time we see the AWP in this map, in the hands of TVS. We mentioned on Vertigo, their last map, TVS doesn't miss an awful lot of shots in fairness with the AWP he's put in the right position. He's looking like he's going to be heading over towards the A site to try and control a bit of mid here. He's got SPT close by as well to give him that bit of extra protection should anything happen, but we can see of course from the minimap that a lot of this utility usage getting put over towards B site, and it's calling a rotation maybe a little bit too early from SPT, but he's going to get ready just in case that overwhelming force pushes once again through into FNK and Jerome.
Definitely worried about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Here comes the reaction though, flashback. Doesn't blind, but the FAMAS wins out the gunfight, and off the back of only seeing there's one player there, deep smoke can come in from Jerome and the rotations can come in. Will they be in time? This crossfire between balcony and pit now needs to hold and stand up against FNK in the perfect position to try and counter this out. There's another smoke dropped in, potentially for this E-Wrap approach. SBT gets found out, so does FNK. That's opened up an avenue towards this B bomb site.
Yeah, Jerome needs to dig deep here if he's going to hold this site, but I think 22 average aren't going to go for it. Yeah, they're looking to wrap around into A still. Oh, Straxy with the misplay there. That jump, ill-advised, does get taken down in the end. TVS will stop the bomb plant from happening, but oh, he needs to be quick, and he is with that AWP every time we see him. Good flash to give himself a little bit of time. It is now a 1v2. We do have Jerome still wrapping round to get in towards site. Puts a few early shots in. Trying to give himself a little bit of positional advantage, but TVS is good for the last. That's a very nice frag from him coming in with the flash as well off the back of it. I think we're setting up for a comms round here, to be honest with you, B-Dog. I think that's probably going to be a good idea.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see the replay coming quickly. I mean, this round was completely saved by TVS. Presence of mind, I think he heard the jump up towards the coffins. Just holds for it. This second kill is absolutely ridiculous. And you're right, I believe we are going to head into that comms round now. So let's jump on board. Prodigies, what do you got?
I will smoke deep and
okay,
when you can just hold. Yeah, I'll boost.
Push him, I'm a bit far away.
They need photo close, that's all.
Going on the
I
roof.
got Vader.
Oh my.
He smoked fast short. Watch out mid, watch out.
Flash,
I'm
one
blocking
banana.
I'm falling back. I'm
Wait,
falling
long,
back.
long,
They're out
long.
mid, out
I'm
mid.
leaving. Oh wait, no,
He's
they're
smoked.
in mid still.
Three guys mid,
I'm holding long.
Can
One
you fall
banana.
back, Lucky?
one more.
I'm going back.
I'm flashing one long.
I smoke close banana.
Flash long.
I'm full white.
I'm playing
I
pillar.
have
Side,
them if
side.
they
Smoke
I will
city?
see headshot.
That's
I'll
all.
go back to
I was
B.
I'm
get-
watching long, careful CT.
Okay,
I was
I'm
good.
watching short. I'm
I'm
watching.
Yeah,
playing
just look
pillar.
closely at
yeah.
Vader.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
wait
do
for
it.
me. Let me have first contact, actually.
One short.
One set mid.
I have Molo and flash. I can flash if you want to pick.
They can beat city though. One
Yeah.
picking.
They usually take shot.
Bomb B, bomb B. I
Maybe
think
one
him.
left.
One close, pushing.
Dead.
Last
Going
pull
for
banana.
I'm Molo.
Can you flash pull?
His car somewhere.
Flashing pull.
Wait.
Flashing.
Car or left side banana,
Line.
I don't know. He's
Yeah,
left
left
side,
close,
left
left
side.
close.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
They're back on the halfway. Watch out for rushes, guys. Mid
Yeah.
rush, Eps rush, banana
Yeah.
rush.
Let's go play
Use your
double long.
utility and don't die close.
Yeah, let's go, let's go.
I will hide in corner.
A good round there, B-Dog, coming in from Prodigies. Fairly well worked out. You can see there's a little bit of jubilation in the voice chat as well at the end, and again, kind of commenting on the buy side of things. They expected 22 average to be on a half buy, but we can see that there's still a lot of rifles and still a lot of utility out there for them to use on this round.
It's interesting listening to those comms as well, because they were a little bit clustered, but at the end of the day, the key information was conveyed at all times, even on that secondary AWP approach on Banana. Jerome was saying, okay, I can molly, I can flash your pull. It's just done in such unison. So they are all singing off the same hymn sheet. AWP still deployed. EVS flashing in a peek for SBT. It's perfect. And that Molotov means that they can't push in through Boiler to try and just trade out that kill. That's really well worked.
There's that little bit of rap coming through. Jerome, double up setup here coming from Prodigies as well, but he's good for FNK being with him there in that scenario. Oh, TVS falls. Just as I was singing his praises in the last round as well. Kind of fancy 22 average for this one, to be honest with you, mate. It depends entirely on how the site defenders kind of crack on. Straxy's up close and personal with the M4, but SPT's the first man to take contact, and they're good for clearance there.
Yeah, that was really well worked from 22 average. They get the kill on TVS at Boiler and just creates a window of opportunity for them to capitalize on the bomb site. And the fact that they diligently clear each angle as they work their way forward, and the adjustments were so snappy. Quite rightly, it will earn them this second round on the board. Jerome just holding on to the AWP. FNK would love to take forward the AK into the next, and it's a second round on the board for 22 average. It's one of those where it's like, okay, Prodigies has still got an advantage. It's probably their game plan was set around waiting for these rushes, as we heard in the comms. It was a much more of a default spread because the buy was a little bit different to what they were expecting as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good point to bring it back to. As you said, they were expecting kind of like a half buy coming in from 22 average, and then all of a sudden they met with quite a lot of utility usage coming in from the pushing towards sites, and AKs as well to boot off the back of that. So definitely unexpected. So the pause coming in, and I don't know if anyone's dropped. We can see 5 CTs at least anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ts. So my maths is right at least anyway. I can still count. Thank God for that. I think what we'll do is head into a comms round though. Give you guys a bit of an insight as to what Prodigies are talking about into round 8.
I will support because I cannot really heal them if they burn me.
Then we'll start mid, so then going B, and if he comes back A, you retake mid again.
You go send back, John. So
Yeah,
you
you
can
wanna?
smoke yourself.
Yeah.
And I smoke.
They flash mid. I took a
Okay.
shot. But yeah. I'm going around short instead then.
Okay, smoke.
Since you're free already. I want to.
Yeah.
I'm
Ah,
already
you can
at
molly wood and flash if you want.
Right
Wait
there,
a bit.
Monica.
I have a one-way naps.
I'm gonna go. We are smoking
bridge.
what wait.
They flash banana.
Okay, molly me,
I already
Come
smoke
down.
deep and molly then.
I'm
Molly and
blocking
Molly
boiler.
and I can flash.
Flash, flash, flash.
Flash in, turn
My
around.
smoke's disappearing now.
Yeah,
Up
wood,
mid.
wood.
Goes dead.
That was him.
I'm flashing with the wall
Yeah,
again.
Some more.
You can go back.
Let's focus
We
on
can
car.
go-
We
still
have
have
lose
mid,
the
guys.
control car, yeah.
We still have
I still have mid. I'm reloading.
someone looks like B.
Can you
I'm
remolly
gonna go
close?
rain.
I'll fall back.
Oh, we should.
Remolly close,
You
remolly.
want us to keep it, no?
I don't
He smoked
know.
it. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back. I'll leave you
Yeah,
alone.
we
You have a smoke. You can
Yeah,
play
smoke.
retake.
Wait,
City.
let me go rain.
Careful
I'm
mid, guys.
anti-flash. Yeah. We're in mid.
Mirai, can you
One
go
mid.
fast?
One mid.
Take apps.
Mid,
Boiler
boiler
one.
Boiler.
I just
Could
came
be ups,
this
could be
way.
ups. Purple.
I will take
Smoked off
ups.
long. I'm holding boiler only. Holding boiler only.
Apps is covered now.
I have ups.
They mono B.
Don't see.
That's all.
Flash?
That's all. One banana
Oh,
car.
what the fuck? There was a
They
smoke
smoke
motor.
motor.
I'm
He was from far
molotoving
back.
boiler.
Far back.
But no,
Out boiler dead.
was only in white.
Dead mid. One more mid. One more mid. I'm
That's when
flashing
I-
one mid.
Off
Flash one
mid,
mid.
off mid, don't repeat.
Yeah, I'm not re-peeking. I'm holding
Go
out.
last mid. Last mid
was
with
up.
up. Big
Nice.
nice, guys.
Nice,
Good job.
nice. A bit.
What the
But
fuck?
you don't have to run away towards side them. You can still stay with your mate and just watch boiler, okay?
Drop Straxy, please.
Yeah, I got it.
That's cool as well, right? You get a little bit of insight into the coach right at the end there saying, look, TVS, you don't need to fall back instantly because you're leaving Straxy left out to dry. But in actual fact, it was a really good hold over towards top bracket. Straxy just staying alive, even being supported by that flashbang. It was really well worked. 22 average just kind of forced themselves into a hole. This utility, well, it's going to be a fast one. SBT all the way down banana opens things up.
Yeah, they want that round over with, don't they? They want to put 22 average on a Hertha, and SBT taking all that advantage down towards banana puts him in good stead. Double peak will come through. One player falls off the worst, but TBS does get traded out in the end. That flashbang will come through onto mid, and FNK's fighting a losing battle there onto mid. That's 2 rifles he's taking on. Falls in the end, and Straxy is also taking out the fight. The SBT is here to try and delay as much as he possibly can, but it's all on Drome's shoulders at the moment to try and recover this round. He's in good position at the minute. Needs to get that initial frag. He does indeed. Is he going to expect the player to be coming up from mid? Could actually see a fadeaway here, realistically speaking, right? I mean, he's got 52 seconds left on the clock. He's got to know that at least B is completely open. I'm not quite sure why we haven't seen a T-side rotation, unless he's trying to play the double bluff.
I mean, you got Galil. And Jerome just hits a wonderful timing. Pure concentration on that man's face. As he does lock in the 1 versus 2. Really well played from him. Just had the presence of mind to know that B could be a possibility, but the rotation hasn't quite come in. So what he's doing instead, by positioning himself into library, he's got the quickest rotation all the way to B, but at the same time can defend A on a dime if it's needed, and just checking long at the perfect moment will have that timing, elevate Prodigies to a 7th, and now it's this half buy that we were promised a few rounds ago.
Yeah, you can see the moment as well when Drone gets that final kill, the deep breath. All the way through that Molotov there, tick damage coming down, that grenade's good. I was going to say, grenade should finish him off, but the utility damage is good to help TBS and FNK clear this round out. I mean, that's a mammoth amount of damage done for utility, and TBS is quick, isn't he? But
yes,
he's just that man is just too quick. I wonder if he's using the V3 or the V2. You know, like that's the question I'm asking myself, and it's the question that probably viewers at home should be asking, right? You know, which one do I want? How am I going to get involved in the giveaway?
Yeah, make sure you do enter that as well. Like, that goes on throughout the entirety of the game. We'll announce the winner as soon as this game will conclude. Right now, it's one-way traffic for the Prodigies on this CT side. 8 rounds. They've already won out the half. And in fact, they go aggressive all the way down middle. Will it catch out 22 average? Well, the answer currently is yes, but Freshness is looking to trade out, and all the kills in a matter of moments full favour to 22 average, so the Prodigies get caught out.
What just happened in round 11? I mean, TBS is like, well, I'll just hang out over here, boys. You do whatever you're going to do over towards A. But yeah, there was a lot of aggression coming from Prodigies there onto mid. I think they were kind of expecting them to be pushed back onto an eco, but, you know, 22 average or max loss bonus, so they're always going to be able to buy up into that round, and you just gifted them another, essentially, to put on the board. Yes, you've won the half, but you've also made the next couple of rounds get a bit more drawn out, so to speak, because of the amount of money that's going to be generated from 22 averages when you...
Really difficult to try and hold on to this as well. Players are converging around TVS's position. Just tries to survive. He's going to be hunted. It's going to be a scary moment, but he just about gets out alive with the AWP. So that means he can drop an M4, potentially to Jerome, and... yeah, the buy, it's going to be there. It's going to be very difficult for the Prodigies going forward if they do lose the next, and they could throw away a good chunk of the advantage that they had.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the play was with that. I mean, yeah, I think they either thought that they will push back on their economy, or if they thought they could get away with kind of making all those super aggressive moves down towards mid and catch 22 average off guard. But yeah, as you're right in saying, it had no real big impact in 22 average's game plan as far as they're concerned. They still continued that push, and yeah, TVS is lucky to make it back with the ult.
Meanwhile, it's aggression taking shape. There's a couple of players in this CT smoke. DB Dan going to run straight through and catch out FNK, but there's another lurker in close proximity. SBT shrouded in the shadows by the coffins. We'll get caught out again by this combination of DB Dan and Sash. That grenade not quite going to find the mark. 2 versus 3. But Sash has been brought down low. DB down, fully blinded. Straxy capitalizes upon it. This retake's doable for the Prodigies.
Fantastic flash that was there to help Straxy get into position. Oh, clears that last kill out as well. 22 average just basically fell into the retake, more or less. You know, they put themselves in not advantageous post-plan positions, and you know, Prodigies are more than happy to take full advantage of that. But that flash from TVS helps Straxy take out that first man. That's just setting that roller coaster in motion.
Yeah, the biggest thing you've got there from that after plant is, yes, whilst it's a good idea to try and take another element of the map after you plant the bombs, so such as DBD down in towards coffins, the issue is they weren't traded out quite effectively. So that allowed the opportunity for the Prodigies to get in there. They were a lot closer together, able to pick things apart. Let's head into the comms.
It's on. 1 second mid.
They haven't thrown anything B. They flashed one. One dead B. I still have B.
Orb is dead.
I'm gonna go third. No,
Okay,
one more.
it's
Okay, go back. I can peek behind this. Okay. Holding. I have smoke to retake after. One more dead.
Yes.
Okay,
Double advantage.
I'm going back CT.
I can flash one, so you take info.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
flash.
Hey, Molotov. They flashed.
Don't
I'm
see.
blind.
Maybe right side. But jumped
I'm
enough,
flashing.
enough.
I'm doing retake
I'm
nades.
smoking mid, I will go B out.
He jumped down.
On sandbags, He's close left.
Marching down.
Close left.
He jumped down now.
He's corner.
I will
He
kill
went
you.
back the smoke.
Watch out, Eps.
Yeah, I will smoke up later, okay? I'm playing motor.
The smoke.
Just stay pit.
Smoke CT. I'm going triple. They can't go out, Okay, I'm going back with you. I'll cross.
I can
One
flash
more big
you
short.
for info, Jerome.
Watch out A, watch out A.
One Eps.
Nice one.
Flash.
Flash.
I leave long, guys. I leave long.
I'm
Let's
leaving.
go
I don't
get
see
Let's go
anything
bait and
B.
switch. Let's go bait and switch.
Yeah.
You have
Let
to
me-
have
You
like
or?
Watch out long.
one short step.
Yeah,
I'm
I
holding
think
the
on you
arch.
I
I'm holding the
flash
arch.
Careful long.
Don't see.
Tim can
One
check
up.
flash
I
long.
don't have smoke. I can flash out from arch.
Yeah, flash.
Flashing. He's in arch. What is he doing?
He's city.
He's
He's
CT.
wrapping me.
One more long. Two guys.
CT.
Yeah,
They will
I'll
finish
flash
A.
Two guys more
I'll
long.
finish flashing long.
CT slash long.
I'm playing headshot.
He coming
They
to
go
you.
back
One
B?
shot. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know they can
What
go.
else?
Almost CT, one was long.
Just play time, you're on 20 sec.
I'm jiggling short angle here.
Yeah,
15 seconds.
I don't
B.
see them long.
B.
Nitson. On site.
Nice.
Off
Nice.
library. Off library. Or arch. Speed on.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck. It's fine.
Straxy has money to drop.
Lexi, can you drop up?
Yeah.
I can drop them
Thank
far
you.
behind.
Tell you what, mate, Jerome there, tense situation, a 1v2, and pulls it right out of the bag. Exactly what you want to see from a man of his stature, just waiting for those players to rotate into him. The game plan is up at that point from 22 average, and he just needs to delay as long as possible. Gets the initial frag and goes in for the second. Very, very, very nicely recovered round from Prodigies there.
Yeah, it was well worked. I think you just got TVS hitting every single shot under the sun. It's not really too much 22 average can do. As a result, Prodigies have hit double digits. Really impressed by this utility usage. We get to see a little bit more of that here with FNK being supported by a flashbang to find the opener. TVS is now scoped towards top bracket, ready to potentially contend with freshness. Doesn't quite land the shot, but SBT has been baited in perfectly.
Well played. Good flashes. Again, it's that utility usage. You mentioned it briefly for a couple of seconds there, but utility usage has been very, very good from Prodigies to help each other out, get each other into good positions, you know, take those picks that need to be, you know, those emergency picks essentially. Doesn't fall their favor, of course, as we start talking about it, but at the same time, there's been more than enough evidence of it happening throughout the entirety of this map so far. Retake coming in though from Prodigies. Oh, caught out on the timing there from Sash. Doesn't have a gun out. 5 HP in a dream. Can it happen? There's one. Gonna look for more. Nope. We'll get taken down by FNK in the end. Oh, should be recovered as well.
That's so unfortunate, isn't it? Sash getting caught
Yeah.
out in the apartments, just pulls his knife out at probably the worst possible moment, which allows Prodigies back into the retake. It was a man advantage for them anyway, and low HP on kicker if hit. Should always have been a Prodigies retake, but we've been aided as well by some mistakes of 22 average. 11 rounds on the board now. We're going to head into the last one of the first half as well. See whether the Prodigies can post 12 on their defensive side. And I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, that's better than my games, to be honest, on this map. I know you asked me my opinion earlier on, but I talk a big game, but 90% of my maps on this one, depending on what team you get on matchmaking, is never like this. TBS always wins that fight. Always going to win that fight, even, I should say. Sasha Khan, however, will start taking more and more ground over towards B site. The retake starts to come through before Bomb even makes its appearance anywhere near site control. It's a SVT to start things off.
It's a little bit team flashed, actually. This round's a bit weird because the bomb's actually heading back towards A. Straxy's in the perfect position, however, to completely count this one out, but they've just walked right by him. Clone could be killed over towards Boiler. Oh, Sash with the trigger discipline. Does correct it. And there's that man from top middle. Definitely not expecting Straxy. And now he's going to have to just kill them all. To be honest, it's going to be very difficult running in. In fact, the smoke actually gives him a way into the bomb site, but Freshness will secure it. It'll be 4 rounds in the end for 22 average.
T-side 4 rounds, kind of, it's recoverable, right? Just you're in that kind of what's the best term? You're in that kind of like honey badger kind of territory, right? Where like you've got some knives that you could pull out here, and you got some rounds that you could pull away from the CTs, or from the Ts, I should say, depending on how well you hold these sites and how well you deal with the aggression coming in from Prodigies, because we've already seen them play quite aggressive on the CT side. That's gonna times 1,000 now when we switch into T side. Yeah, I mean, 4 is good, and it is still recoverable from, but it's an uphill battle, realistically speaking.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, we're going to throw it to a quick ad break for now, but when we come back, we'll bring you that second half.
See you in a minute.
Breaking that fast with a full clip of lyrics. Feel my spirit from your head to your speakers.
Oh, straight back with us. I mean, a lovely little advert there for yourselves to enjoy, rather than having to look at this. I mean, that, like, B-Dog's alright.
I don't know.
This isn't there, like, at all, you know? See, production even agree. They threw us straight into gameplay, like, nah, boys, we can't look at you anymore. Straight into the action. SPT and Jerome just slicing through 22 averages. Early aggression on B side there, but it's a 1v3 FNK Straxy and Jerome to potentially take this home, put 12 on the board, and Kika has been in this familiar position time and time again, B-Dog.
No utility, no friends beside him. It's going to be a very difficult retake back in. No kit either, so that clock gets ever so more impactful. Creeping his way around towards Coffins. Has to be careful because Jerome's in close proximity to try and remove him. Doesn't even need to reveal himself. FNK will secure that kill on the USP. Quite a straightforward pistol round. It was a battle on Banana. Prodigies, they came out on top with favourable trading. We get to see that replay come in now, and that's 12 on the board. Easy as you like. It's cruise control right now from the Prodigies, and it feels like this one's going to be quick.
Incredibly fast. I mean, I'm just trying to fathom what 22 average can really do to kind of stem the flow of Prodigies, because they've had massive issues taking on TVS when he's been in control with an AWP. They've had big issues with with Jerome as well on those rotations coming through in CT. They've got to be feeling that little bit of extra pressure, right? Oh, I'm all for a Zeus play, right? All for a Zeus play, but it's just too much of a distance between you and him, my friend.
Oh. We like the Zeus.
Yeah.
Could be one here. There we go.
There it is.
Alright, so we see
I'm
one.
happy now.
Yeah. And the best thing about that is that it's not going to impact the round at all. Because Prodigies are already on B. It's a 2 versus 4. It's yeah, it's the ideal scenario. We get to see a Zeus kill, and it doesn't matter. So I'm quite happy. And that Mac 10 is, well, not even in contention anymore. And Kicker is going for another one. Love a bit of Zeus.
2 in 1 round? Can we get 2 in 1 round? I mean,
maybe.
TVS checks spoiler every time, yeah. Ah, just too far. Never mind. Next
What if
time.
we get a
Next
Zeus
time.
replay?
I'd like a Zeus replay. Maybe.
Maybe.
But
Probably see the kills coming in for the Prodigies, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, we
there
will.
we go. Perfect.
Very nice. Alright. Well, cool. So we've heard Jerome just get Zeused in the highlights. I'm more interested to see what the Prodigies have got to formulate a plan in this round. Let's jump in.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
Molly.
Molly. Okay, you Molly. I'll do a Jeep pressure.
They need mid. Pushing mid, second mid.
Okay, go ahead, go,
No,
go,
no,
go. Run up,
Down
run
mid,
up.
maybe.
Yeah, down
Might be
mid.
down mid. Go,
He's
go,
pushing
go.
This
in.
one.
Go. Okay, let's go.
I'm in it.
Dead.
I'm
One
still
is
checking pit.
Mexico.
I will
Water
take
side,
shot. I will
go
take
ahead.
shot. Plop. Yeah, I'm gonna plant
Take a
side.
shot.
Smoking
Bridge.
long.
Planting for
Bridge,
pit. Planting for pit.
And I don't know, under bridge.
Yeah, I'm in
Control,
boiler. I'm in
3v3.
some. I'm going through
One
the long
teaspoon,
smoke.
boys. One teaspoon.
I'm going close long. I'm standing in north.
It's up. Apps in mid. One boiler.
Wait, I might have the guy in mid. They're going out boiler both. Oh wait,
Wait,
I'm behind
wait.
them. I'm behind them.
Let's buy time.
Yeah, I'm
Give me a
just.
One died last site.
On the bomb.
I'm just hiding.
on the
I'm
He's
just
not
hiding.
defusing.
Not on it. Going back.
Ah, it's okay,
Nice.
boys.
Coming again and again.
Wait.
They have to keep forcing.
Don't die. Woo.
They have to keep
Drop one,
forcing.
please.
Take
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, let's just play like only 1 second me passive and we control.
TVS doesn't need an AWP anymore. He's now main Mac 10 mate. It's just the way it is. He does swap out to the AWP in the end, of course. Though we're only joking at this point, but realistically speaking, the Prodigies aren't joking anymore. They're not messing around. They want to seal the deal, and that's again just super quick from TVS. Takes down Kicker. Not a lot of options to shut down that AWP, unfortunately, from 22 average, and it's really playing havoc with them at the minute. Oh, nice nade from Sash.
Silver lining. Does reduce the man deficit to 1 in the Prodigy's favour. Take a look at this though on the other side of the map. This push in towards second mid is a lot of information. More importantly, if 22 average keep progressing here, which I've got no doubt that they will, it just pigeonholes the Prodigies into this B attack. The good news is they're moving now, so it doesn't look like that flank will actually have too much of an effect.
It does help them get into rotation relatively quickly, though, and it limits the amount of options that Prodigies will have for post-plant. Especially with Shash. Never mind, actually. That post-plant's been negated immediately. Never mind. Doesn't need to happen anymore. Prodigies are on 15. This is match point. Very, very quick game as far as Prodigies are concerned at the minute, and they're looking to seal the deal within, what, we went live at 54 minutes. It's not
Nice.
bad, that isn't.
It's just the fact that TVS just turns round as well. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay, oh, and he's got the. I mean, he's going 24 and 7. So he's like, all right, I'll just fight both of them. 5 MP9s down middle. And Kicker actually gets the first kill. What is happening? It's aggressive. It's the MP9 show. This is typical UKCS. I love it. Let's go.
If at first you don't succeed, MP9 will do. Like that is typical UKCS though, right? Like
Yeah.
this peak mid, but peak mid with MP9s and just run at them. You know, they've got AKs. They can definitely tag us all if they want to tag us all, but they can't take down every single MP9. Good money spinner as well, of course. That's something else to take into consideration. Nice wad of cash comes off the back of one frag at least anyway, but you can see that Sash sitting there with 2 kills. You also got DB down with 1 and Kipper as well, also with 1 of his own. Oh, jumping spray. Freshness finishes out and puts 5 on the board for 22 average.
Yeah, that's one way to win a round, isn't it? However,
Yeah.
I can't see it being that consistent. And right now it looks to be a matter of when Prodigies win out the game rather than if. And, they shouldn't be too disheartened by that one. That's just a classic MP9 rush. 3 down top middle, 2 down banana. It doesn't happen all that often, but when it does, it's quite amusing.
It is, definitely. It pays off in dividends. See a bit more of a controlled approach to this round coming in from 22 average. So, of course, they have upgraded a lot of AK, some utility as well to help them hold off the storm for the Prodigies at the minute. And it seems to be working quite nicely. There's a bit of utility damage down banana. Straxy's just looking for a bit more information. Splashes are coming through from 22 average, but no real connections off the back of it other than the utility. And the fadeaway starts to happen already.
Yeah, Jerome's working his way through apartments right now. You've got freshness boosted up towards the balcony. What's interesting is players are rotating over towards B. So as soon as this top brackets control comes in, it's all onto freshness to try and just hold this at bay.
Oh, the timing there. Oh, again, another timing. Is SPT aware of this, maybe? He's kind of angling, or he's looking or angling towards it at least anyway. I think it's just one of those things you check, right? If there's no one deep, then they might be higher, look higher. If they're not higher, then they might be playing pit. You know, it's just process of elimination, I suppose, from a T side pushing into control. SPT will swing onto Sash, caught on a bit of a time in there again with the smoke getting deployed. Kick is good for the first against FNK, and the bomb is still edged up towards B site. That's bomb control lost. 15 seconds, or sorry, 10 seconds I should say left in the clock. Not a lot really to do here, other than try and find these extra picks if they can, but with bomb control in the hands of 22 average, that will put 6 on the board for them.
Yeah, you can see what the project's trying to do, right? It's
Yeah.
Put an SBT up long, finding the kills, and then potentially wrap into B. At the same time of him causing that distraction, you're then hoping for your B players just to make a move and catch off the defenders off guard. But Kicker is holding so patiently with the AWP, so it doesn't quite work out as the Prodigies intended it to. I think an element of that as well was the clock had worn quite thin, so they had to go anyway.
Committed.
Yeah. So you take a look at the buy, and it's not the best. It's just the saved weapons of the Prodigies, accompanied by a Mac 10 and a Tech 9. SBT, not quite burning alive in the Molotov, but there are 2 defenders ready to contend for 22 average here.
We have an errant tap there from the M4. This is going to be quick, though. I mean, you got Tech 9, you do have 2 AKs into the mix, as well as that Mac 10. There's no utility to really go in for it, so you're peeking dry into sight. Sash connects onto the first. SPT's good for 1, though, for the trade. Hunting that CT player that's holding sight. SPT's good for a second as well. And rotation starts to come through from 22 average. Bomb plant should get put, though, and Prodigies have got a little bit of time to get themselves into post plant. Where do you really hold, though? I mean, you've got an AK, you've got an FNK on fire, now dead to an AWP. It's a stylish round to win it on if you're going to do it right.
Yeah, but not quite.
Not
good
quite.
utility
Cast
being
is
put
curse.
down. Yeah, of course, but good utility being put down by 22 average. Flushing out positions enables Kicker on that deep passive line towards CT to pick as they run out through the fire and the flames. Really good work from SBT, though. You did say it. He even got a 3rd kill here in towards CT on that player in DB Dan, and suddenly it just gets a little bit too overwhelming. There's too many players there for the Prodigies to contend with. And to be honest with you, it's good that they even plant the bomb because it does enable.
Let's jump into a comms round, B-Dog. See what the Prodigies are saying.
They need mid. They did
It's
fast
not
take B, I think.
Hey, Molly, boy, down.
What?
They use double molly B. They are still to B. It's good. Just after I flash boiler, you insta rush
Oh,
towards
we
side,
made
guys. Okay? And SPT will flash for your pit.
They
Flash
flashed
up,
up.
peek.
One apps, one motor.
You go now, maybe?
Knock his
No
balcony.
steps.
One balcony.
Long.
Close,
Long
close,
off.
short dead.
Flash
Flash
up.
up, ups.
Apps. Apps and long. Apps and long.
Let's kill
Blind.
him.
Inside ups.
Yeah, I smoke long, wait. I smoke long.
Library.
Library.
Wait.
Library.
I have time. I will kill him. One more
Library.
library.
Sorry, take the bomb.
One was that. I'll go side. I'm taking the bomb.
I will smoke the library
Take a
guy.
shot.
Plant for pit. Plant for pit.
Advantage.
You have moto, Mia? Moto.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think, Tim?
That's
Oh, we
close.
do. Apps
You
one.
killed
I
dog.
have him if he goes out there.
I have apps too.
Perhaps along. Long up.
Long up. Long up.
Taking a shot.
There you guys.
I
I'm
watch out.
holding
I
us
watch
from
out.
pit.
A lot
Holding
of
us from
time.
pit.
Up still and long.
Close apps.
Dead.
Nice, guys.
Nice shot, boys.
Good job, guys.
Nice. Who's doing interview today?
Not me.
Not me. I did
Well, I said a stylish round to win it on, and then they immediately pull that stylish round off straight after the back of it. So yeah, I mean that's really well worked. Got themselves into good positions in sight. Kind of pincered those danger players, right, and stopped them from really making a big impact with the rifles that they had, and yeah, run away with it in the end there, B-Dog.
Yeah, congratulations to them, and congratulations to someone in the chat as well, because we've got our giveaway winner as well. It is the Silent Chair. Congratulations, you have won. So someone will be in chat to contact you, and you can choose either a Viper V2 Pro or a Death Adder V3 Pro. And also, we're going to throw in a Desert Eagle Ocean Drive Factory New. So that is the Silent Chair. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations indeed. I love the name as well also. Wish my chair was silent, but it's a bit creaky at the minute, so I'm going to have to get some recommendations from people. But yeah, nonetheless, 16-7, really well worked towards the end there of T-side. Bit shaky, of course. There were a few rounds that maybe went adrift that Prodigies weren't expecting to lose in that T-side, but 16-7 is definitely a very, very good scoreline nonetheless. I think we're more or less ready for an interview, though, one of the players. They started to talk about it themselves after the map finished, of course, but let's see who we've got on deck ready to have a chat with us. Oh, well, we're waiting. It's fine. You get to look at us for a little bit at least, anyway, and a bit longer than the last time round when production was like, no, it's straight to gameplay. It's not great cameras and people's screens and all that kind of stuff. I need to trim my beard. I'm beautiful, apparently. Cheers, B-Dog, for also saying that you are as well. I appreciate it, mate. I get it. It's all internal. It's psychological. Not psychological. What's the word? Psychically, telepathically telling me that I am. So it's fine. But no, we'll be ready in a few moments there with an interview for yourselves, just so we can catch up with the players. I kind of want to ask about that round 11, right? That push down mid from CT. That's kind of a weird one. So I want to see what the conscience like, what the comms like for that one. Let's bring in our interview and have a quick chat.
Hello.
Hello, TVS. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You?
Very good indeed, mate. We're going to be quick fire with you because that seems to be your playstyle with the AWP at least, anyway.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, perfect. I wanted to ask a quick question about round 11. This 4-man push down mid on CT side, with you left over on B side on your own. You kept the AWP in the end. I think you were very, very close to not.
Yeah, it was very close.
I was going to say, what was the kind of thought process with that CT side?
Like, especially like that round, Miha just wanted to try something new. Like, he just called something like they pushed to street and to mid, then I go alone B with the AWP, and then everyone was suddenly just dead, and I was like, okay, here I am. I couldn't really do a lot, but thankfully I got to save the AWP at least.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very good CT side, of course, quite quick. as far as rounds, got into double digits very, very quickly, of course. I mentioned to B-Dog, we've only really been looking at the game for about an hour, or less than an hour, actually, when you think about it time-wise. So, definitely a fast-paced game. How was the T side for you, of course? Because there was a bit of a change-up with the mentality from CT side. They were a little bit more... They allowed you to kind of walk into themselves a little bit more, walk into their utility usage. So there's a few rounds there where I think you guys weren't expecting to drop.
Like, okay, as the T side was going, like, we knew they were, like, just doing kind of stupid stuff, like just drying through smokes, etc. Just so, like, we had a talk before the game, just don't be surprised of anything and just be ready for everything. So that was, like, our plan going into CT side, be, like, ready for everything that couldn't happen. And then on CT side, they played more passive a bit, but, like, it didn't work for them, so they changed it up and played a lot more aggressively. But we got it in the end with the pistols. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a very flare-driven round to win it on. B-Dog, what were you going to say, mate?
I was just going to say, it's very interesting as well when we hear the comms sometimes in some of these rounds, and we can hear the coach as well saying things in your ear towards the end. I just wanted to get more of an insight from you and how much support the coach has really been given towards yourself, and kind of what's been the most important bit of information that you've learned so far from being on the Prodigies from that coaching aspect.
Okay, so, like, the coaches is there to, like, help us not to, like, overpeak and do stupid stuff by ourselves, like, to remind us that we're a team and that if we're gonna do something, like, do it together. And especially, like, when he called that like last round where we had like where we were up like 4v2, like, he just tells us that we're up 4x2. We don't really need to force a fight because they're coming to us. So that's, like, what they help with, those small comms in between to remind us that we're not alone and we have the advantage, and they are the ones that is stressed out.
Yeah,
cool.
that's it from me.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, obviously, well won game. You've got 2 more games coming up before we get into seeding, of course, for next stage. Do you have anything that you want to say to people watching at home, like friends, family, anyone that's watching for yourself there today?
Thank you for supporting us. That's pretty much it. And then good luck to everyone that is here every match and going for the giveaway. I know there's a lot of giveaways going on every stream, and it's a good mice and a skin even out as well.
We wondered actually what mouse you use, whether it was the V2 or the V3. Weirdly enough, with the way that you play the AWP.
Yeah, I'm using the Death Adder.
Nice.
The new
Okay,
Death Adder.
that makes sense. Yeah,
makes sense.
Okay,
yeah.
that makes a bit more sense. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much, TBS. We'll leave you get back to the team to enjoy the rest of the evening. I will see you again on Thursday. Enjoy your practice and scrims in between, mate.
Thank you.